Back in 2023, the science world was buzzing with new research on aging gene, specifically FOXO3, the gene everyone's hyping up as the live forever gene. And just like that, the whole immortality conversation blew up again. Tech billionaires like Bryan Johnson are dropping millions of dollars a year just to reverse their biological age. The guy is literally trying to outrun the Grim Reaper with a checkbook. But it makes you wonder, if humans actually stopped dying, what would this world look like? First, the biggest elephant in the room, space. Right now, Earth has about 8 billion people. Roughly 60 million die every year. Now imagine those 60 million people stuck around forever, while everyone keeps having kids. Based on basic population models, within just a few centuries, the planet would be so packed that our food systems and resources collapse. Farmland doesn't grow on its own. Freshwater is already running low. Forests are basically disappearing. If feeding 8 billion is hard, how do we feed 50 billion? What are we going to eat, dirt? Unless Earth magically grows 10 times bigger overnight, immortality sounds less like a dream and more like a crowded nightmare. If old age doesn't get you, starvation definitely will. Think about this. Why do people work hard, save money, build a career? Part of it is wanting a good life, sure, but a huge part of it is because the clock is ticking. I've only got maybe 70 or 80 years to make something happen, so I better move. But if I live forever, why rush? I'll do it next month, next year, next century. In psychology, there's a theory called terror management theory. Basically, a lot of human behavior is secretly driven by our deep-seated fear of death. Psychologists still debate this, and not everyone's fully sold on it. But it raises a real question. If you take away that fear, does any of that ambition just vanish? The rich stay rich forever. Literally, this is honestly the part that creeps me out the most. The wealth gap right now is already insane, but at least we have the great equalizer. Nature. Generations pass on, wealth gets redistributed, society gets a chance to reshuffle. But if nobody dies, Elon Musk is still Elon Musk. 300 years from now, these dynasties would just keep stacking. No reset button, ever. People at the bottom could never move up because the spots at the top never open. Your boss today would still be your boss in the year 2400. Thinking about that makes me want to die. Except, I can't. That's what I call a double whammy. Marriage, forever. And I mean forever, forever. Standard wedding vows say, "Till death do us part." Sounds romantic. But if death never shows up, that clause never kicks in. You marry someone at 25, and 500 years later, you're still waking up next to the same person. Every single morning. For 5 centuries, about half of all marriages in the US already end in divorce. What does that number look like? When forever actually means infinity? I'm not even gonna guess. And even after the divorce, you're not really rid of them. They still exist. Still out there. Probably still living in your neighborhood. For eternity. That's honestly scarier than any ghost story. War gets weird. If nobody can die, what happens when you shoot someone? Maybe they just stay injured. Or worse, they lie there in pain forever. Which honestly sounds even more terrifying. War wouldn't disappear. It just changes what it's trying to do. Instead of kill the enemy, the goal becomes trap the enemy forever. Can't kill them? Just throw them in a bunker and leave them there. Some philosophers argue that without death, there's no such thing as clear victory anymore. Obviously, that's all speculation. But the whole thing sounds absolutely exhausting. The generational gridlock. Here's something nobody talks about. The American dream only works if the previous generation gets out of the way, but if your great-great-great-grandfather is still alive and kicking. He's probably still sitting on the family house he bought in the 1950s. The housing market is already a nightmare for Gen Z. Now imagine if the boomers literally never left. Property disputes dating back to the 1800s, with the original owners still in court. Litigation lawyers would be the only ones getting rich. Does life even have meaning anymore? This is the big one philosophers love to fight about. One camp says life is only precious because it ends. A sunset is beautiful because it's fleeting. A meal hits different when you're actually hungry. If you can eat forever, nothing ever tastes like a last meal. The other camp says that's nonsense. Humans can find meaning without a death deadline. This debate has been going for thousands of years with zero resolution. I'm definitely not smart enough to settle it. But what I do know is, if it's the year 3000 and I still have to wake up for a 9 to 5, I am going to be very, very unhappy. At the end of the day, immortality sounds amazing. When you think about never losing the people you love, having endless time to learn every language, travel everywhere, experience everything. But when you actually look at the fine print, the legal system, the economy, culture, love, even your motivation to drag yourself out of bed on a Monday morning, all of it is built on death as the foundation. Take that away? I genuinely don't know what's left. Maybe the goal was never live forever. Maybe it's just die at the right time, which sounds simple, but might be the hardest thing to actually get right. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video.